Liquidity ratios. Liquidity generally is a state of where something is in liquid form like water and oils in normal state. Observe these pictures. Bottles in different shapes. Liquids are in the bottles with the same shapes of the bottles or containers. This is the property of liquids in science, means liquids are ready to get the shape of the container or vessel in which they are poured and kept. So, the readiness to get converted is the important feature for business financial language. This readiness logic is applied in business financial language. Assets of a business enterprise are identified with this readiness feature, and these assets are kept under the group called current assets and classified with the degree of liquidity. That means readiness to be converted. So cash is with high degree of liquidity, means it is very fast to be converted. Readiness to be converted. Liquidity means readiness to be converted here in business financial language. Current assets group contains the elements of CMA IP. Again, these elements are in the order of degree of readiness. Let us see what these letters stand for. CMA IP stands for. C. Cash, including bank balance and cash equivalents. There is no process requirement, just cash is ready to get any product or service as per the requirement. Marketable securities. Marketable securities can be converted to cash by selling them on stock exchange. Accounts receivable. These can be converted to cash by factoring process. Inventory. So, by selling inventory like finished goods and raw materials, again cash can be gotten. P stands for prepaid expenses. So, 99.999% or 100% not possible to get converted to cash. So, high liquidity to zero liquidity. Cash is ready always for making payments to get service or product. And then these other items can be converted to cash first, and from there we can get service or product. So this is the order of the liquidity. That means order of the readiness. There is another group on liability side of balance sheet with a commitment to pay in less than 1 year. These liabilities are known as current liabilities. The term liquidity in business finance is measured by chemistry between these two groups. So always interpretation is required for this liquidity ratio analysis. That is a chemistry between these two groups, current assets and current liabilities. This is an example for balance sheet. So the total assets is equal to 776,000. So this is the balance sheet total. In this current assets group total 175,000, current liabilities group total 140,000. Remember these two numbers and the total balance sheet number. 175 current assets, 140 current liabilities, and total assets 776,000. So for our analysis, this part is taken from here, current assets group and current liabilities group. So written like this, current assets total 175,000. Current liabilities total 140,000. Now let us see the formulas and calculations. Working capital or net working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities is equal to 175,000 minus 140,000 highlighted in red here. 35,000 is the answer, but the interpretation is left to the student. In the coming calculations also, interpretation is completely left to the student. Next ratio, current ratio is equal to current assets by current liabilities is equal to 175,000 divided by 140,000 is equal to 1.25 or equal to 125%. Both are same. Next ratio, quick ratio or acid test ratio is equal to quick assets by current liabilities. Quick assets means CMA, cash, marketable securities and accounts receivable. The total is equal to 47,000, 5,000 plus 7,000 plus 35,000 and current liabilities 140,000. So quick assets by current liabilities 47,000 divided by 140,000 is equal to 0.3357 is equal to 33.57%. Next ratio. Cash ratio is equal to cash plus marketable securities by current liabilities. So highlighted one, cash 5,000, marketable securities 7,000 and current liabilities 140,000 is equal to here 12,000 divided by 140,000 equal to 0.085714 means that is equivalent to 8.57%. Next one, operating cash flow ratio. Operating cash flow ratio means operating cash flow divided by current liabilities. Current liabilities highlighted, but operating cash flow is taken from the assumption that 196,000. So it is assumed 196,000 divided by 140,000 is equal to 1.4 means 140%. Here operating cash flow means purely cash from operations. Net working capital ratio is equal to net working capital by total assets. Net working capital is equal to current assets minus current liabilities by total assets. So 1,75,000 minus 1,40,000 or 140,000 divided by 776,000. So total assets 776,000 taken from balance sheet shown before this figure. So 35,000 divided by 776,000 is equal to 0.04510 equal to 4.5%. So we have completed 6 formulae. Let us recall them. First one, net working capital equal to current assets minus current liabilities. Next one, current ratio equal to current assets by current liabilities. Next one, quick ratio or acid test ratio is equal to quick assets by current liabilities. Cash ratio equal to cash plus marketable securities by current liabilities. Next ratio, operating cash flow ratio is equal to operating cash flow by current liabilities. Net working capital ratio is equal to net working capital by total assets. Sixth formula. Every formula contains current liabilities except the last one. So, in liquidity ratios, current liabilities in 5 formula it is part. So, you need to remember current ratio means current assets as numerator and current liabilities is denominator. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 formula have current liabilities as denominator. So the numerator, quick ratio, quick assets, cash ratio, cash. Cash means cash plus marketable securities. Operating cash flow is the numerator, like that. Net working capital ratio is equal to net working capital by total assets. So we need to keep in mind there are only 6 formulae in liquidity ratios group. Out of this, only this one is logically different from these things. So, I mean, here current assets items only here. Cash is current asset item, marketable security current asset item, and like that, operating cash means again it is purely cash, but the cash from operations. So, you can now understand and remember easily all these 6 formulae.